Well, the Torah portion for this Shabbat is called Bo, and it comes from the book of Exodus, dealing with chapters 10, verse 1 through chapter 13 through 16. Now, I'm not going to talk about all 3 chapters, but it continues the story of the 10 plagues and culminates with instructions on what we are to remember every year at our Passover Seder. So, 10 plagues. Over the centuries, so much has been written about the role of the 10 plagues in the Exodus story, the role of God, the role of Pharaoh, questions of responsibility, accusations and denials on who was at fault, and who was really responsible, God or Pharaoh. But I would like to look at the 10 plagues from a more modern perspective. This isn't a novel approach. We are instructed to retell our exodus from Egypt, to instruct our children in every generation of our journey from slavery to freedom. Well, when we look at the world around us, when we really take notice, we see vast areas of our country where land and waterways have become so polluted with pesticides and toxic waste from industrial complexes that many residents are told not to drink the water, not to eat the fish or the vegetation. Our world is being plagued with the devastating actions of countries who contribute on a daily basis to global warming and an insidious dependence upon fossil fuels. Our communities are plagued with more than just violent crime and drug addiction. We are plagued with issues of violence against women, violence against children. We are plagued with poverty and homelessness. We are plagued with issues of environmental justice, even here in Memphis, where responsible leaders such as Rita Harris from the Sierra Club have been leading the wake-up call to address issues of toxic waste in the economically depressed areas of Shelby County, efforts to protect the land, the air, the water, and health by working with the communities to campaign against major polluters to improve environmental quality and justice for all communities. Well, when you stop to really look around, the world you see can be a picture of such hopelessness that you can become so completely overwhelmed that you find yourself paralyzed. You say, it's hopeless, there is little or nothing I can do to make a difference, it's just the way things are. But Jewish tradition stresses hope. It is not by accident the national anthem for the Jewish people is not only called, but it is all about tikva, hope. So what do we do? Will we see the results of our efforts in our lifetime? Well, more than just a probably not, the answer is more likely simply just no. Can our individual efforts make significant changes in our local community, in the world? Well, the answer is no, not immediately. Remember, the damage to our environment has been generations in the making. I doubt any substantial change will occur in the near future. So why make the effort? Well, according to Jewish tradition, the answer comes from God at the time of creation. The early rabbis tell us, when God created Adam, God led him all around the trees of the Garden of Eden. God said to Adam, "See how beautiful and praiseworthy all of my works are. Everything I have created has been created for your sake. Think of this, and do not corrupt or destroy my world. For if you corrupt it, there will be no one to set it right after you." Well, Jewish tradition continues by relating the story of an elderly man found digging vigorously, working hard at planting a tree. A stranger passing by, observing the old man, points out to him that his efforts are in vain. "You foolish old man," says the stranger, "don't you realize you're elderly and will never live to see the fruits of your labor?" "I know," responds the older gentleman with a twinkle in his eyes. "I have no pretensions of living forever. This tree, however, is not for me. I'm planting it for my grandchildren, and that is why I haven't a moment to waste." And there's the story of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, who was an important rabbinic sage in the final days of the Second Temple during the Roman occupation of Jerusalem. The following has been attributed to him. "If while holding a sapling in your hand, you were told that the Messiah is about to arrive, first plant the sapling and then go out to receive the Messiah. Imagine, this story occurred during the tumultuous time of our people's history, during the devastating and tragic occupation of Israel by the Romans. Everyone, including the early rabbis, were praying fervently for the coming of Mashiach ben David. His arrival would herald a time of peace and justice for everyone. And yet, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai says, first, remain grounded in what is needed at this moment, and then go and greet the future. So what can we do? Well, many of you have already found answers to that question. You place your recycle bin at the street every week for the city to pick up and to recycle. So many of today's cars are designed to improve gas mileage and reduce the pollution of the engine's exhaust. Many are even choosing to drive hybrid or totally electric vehicles. But one of the plagues for today is the simple fact that the issue of environmental responsibility is, in itself, not simple. There are few simple answers to the questions at hand. So what can we do? One thing is to become better informed. When looking to build or remodel your house, what are the more environmentally responsible choices available to you? One answer is to go on the internet and ask questions. Another is to ask the businesses you are contracted, how responsible they are with their goods and services to their environment. Another way to become better informed is to attend Temple Israel's Eco Expo on Sunday, February 5th. From 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., businesses and individuals will be exhibiting and demonstrating how their goods and services tackle this difficult issue of environmental responsibility with straightforward answers. Besides the obvious businesses who provide responsible products and services for the home and office, there will be, for example, one individual who has established a business of hiring women in economically devastated countries, transforming such things as discarded Cheetos bags and transforming them into trendy handbags that are stylish and provide a much-needed income for this country's the women who, under the current economic system that rules their country, would have kept them in abject poverty. Another individual transforms old VCR tapes by knitting the old tape into stylish handbags. Even the Memphis Botanic Gardens will be there with arts and crafts activities for children, making fun stuff by recycling such material as spent paper towel rolls that our religious school children have been collecting. So, some would sound the alarm of environmental disaster. For them, it is all doom and gloom. They preach a sense of despair in inevitable tragedy. For them, the future has been cut short by the greed and indifference of humanity. For me, I take pride in the changes we as a society are making. I see the efforts of people like me whose message to the auto manufacturing industry for cleaner burning cars and trucks, for vehicles who help to reduce pollution and our dependence upon fossil fuels. I look around and see the plagues of today, but I also see the steps we are taking as a society to find cures for these plagues. Have we found all of the cures? No. Are we managing the disease? Well, in some instances, I think yes. But we still have a long journey ahead of us. This is a journey that we are all on together. I am reminded of the famous words of Rabbi Hillel, Im ein ani li mili. If I'm not for myself, who will be for me? Uchshani la'atzmi ma'ani. But if I'm only for myself, who am I? Ematai. If not now, when? Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos.